Hello and welcome to our podcast. This is Neil Strange, joined today by Alex Higgs.
Hello.
We thought we'd have a chat today about data contracts.
Yes.
Yeah, there's been a bit
Big,
of noise out there about data contracts, and they're beginning to catch on, I think, in a big way, because I think they solve a number of questions that people have had about broken data pipes and so on.
If done correctly.
If done correctly, yeah.
Yes.
So just remind me, first of all, what is a data contract?
A good question. So it's in the name, first of all. We're probably going to be stating the obvious here, but it's an agreement. It's very important. We can all say, the data should be good, but it's both parties, so sender and receiver of the data, target, source system, whatever you want to say, saying, hey, my data is going to be in this structure, this format, and it's going to have these attributes, et cetera, and so that's the source system, and then the target system saying, yes, I'm happy for that to be in that format. I will read the data in that format, and if something breaks, that's on you for breaking the agreement, breaking the contract.
Okay, so that's an agreement at one level, but there's thousands of data items being exchanged across a business, and if I put in lots and lots of data contracts, surely it can't be more than just a piece of paper saying I agree, because people will just break the rules. So
well, exactly.
how are these enforced in some way?
Yeah, so data contracts themselves are more of a concept, as are things like data warehouses, until you actually implement them, right? And it's the way in which you implement them is very important. Mm-hmm. So we're seeing more and more concrete implementations of data contracts. So DBT, I say recently, it's been in the last year or so, have released an implementation of contracts, which is pretty good. And it's about, where do you do it? So do you do it inside the database? That's a bit more difficult. Do you have some kind of program running and checking that before data is loaded, it's of a certain structure? There's all kinds of ways to do it. And I think we're still early enough that we're seeing lots of different ways of implementing them, and with varying levels of success.
Yeah. I think the data mesh method had a particular way of envisioning these, and I don't think it's necessarily only limited to data mesh. Once you think about the mechanisms, it applies to all kinds of other data exchange scenarios as well, not just for data warehouses, but system-to-system data exchanges. And that, you're right, it declares an agreement that has to be governed. So it has to be sort of registered in some way as, here's the official agreement that we've made. And then it's kind of electronically enforced. And essentially what that's saying is the supplier guarantees it to meet this standard. And therefore a downstream consumer of the data can expect that standard to be met and can program and so on, expecting that to be in place. And that if the contract's violated, the governance structure flags this up and alerts the supplier of data and gets that fixed, basically.
Yes.
Your pipes still break, but they're detected inside the governance structure.
Yes.
You don't get badly formed data arriving in your warehouse, which you only discover after you've loaded it in and pushed it through a couple of ETL processes, only to find you've got to unravel all of it because it's been broken. Someone's, for example, removed a column from the database and they've all shifted one left on your load, and all the columns are suddenly in the wrong name, under the wrong name, things like that.
Yeah, it's almost a way to enforce a schema on your data, and I think it's important here to make a distinction between preventative and reactive data quality checks. So, in a way, data contracts are just a really powerful data quality check. You're stopping the bad data getting to the target system in the first place, because the target system is checking that data contract, finding it violates it, and not loading it. Whereas pre-data contracts, you are loading the data, doing some checks on the data, and going, you've this is rubbish data, but by that point you've loaded it, which is where problems come about, right?
I guess it's. I mean, in some ways, it's not really a new idea. I mean, we've always done data checks. We can always have done data schema checks as well, checking that the right columns were there and not. And in the world of APIs, this is quite common as well, where you declare an API version, for example, and you guarantee if you called at that version, you get a certain representation back, and if you could go call to a later version, you might get an extra column added, but you were very much under the control of the consumer, which data contract or which data items were retrieved in the query.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
I like to think of it as like essentially like an API schema or a data contract. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I think it's quite a useful concept, and there's been a couple of books written about these recently. I know we have got Andrew Jones, who's written one.
Essentially created data contracts.
Created contracts, yes,
Yep.
that's well worth reading. And Chad Sanderson's written one as well, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Also very well worth reading into. There's plenty of blogs out there on the internet about it. Certainly, we're using them quite consistently now in data load patterns to make sure that, certainly with DBT anyway, to make sure that the data that we load is up to spec.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd suggest you all have a look at this area and maybe make sure you adopt them as a regular part of your architecture.
Absolutely. I think one last thing to mention is with data contracts, it's some people, some organizations may look at them and go, oh well, that's a bit extreme. And that might be an indicator that they're very early on in their journey and they might be overkill. But if you're starting to, as an organization with a data product, starting to think about data governance and you're having data quality issues and you're wanting to start to control the flow of data more, data contracts are the way to go.
Okay.
Yep.
I guess it's a very lean way of working as well. As soon as there's a problem on the production line, you pull the handle, stop things, fix it then and there, rather than let the problem promulgate through the production process.
Yeah. And I think the other thing to mention as well is if you're starting to design APIs and starting to design data exchanges, that's also a point at which you should start thinking about data contracts, because get it early, get an agreement in place early about what that data should look like.
All right. Okay, we'll have a look. I recommend you check these guys out anyway that we mentioned earlier. Links are on the panel on the side.
Thank
you. I think that'll be fine today. I think we covered off the topic.
Good topic.
So thank you very much, everyone. That's I've been Neil Strange and Alex Higgs today. We have links, we said, on the side. Please follow those for further information. We do run these podcasts regularly, so we'll see you hopefully at our next episode. And in the meantime, please do add comments below if you want to agree with us or ask for
not.
more information or not. Again, we're very happy to accept that. Do please join our user group if you get a chance. That will provide you with a lot of benefits and additional information. So good to see you all, and see you next time. Thank you.
See you. Thank you.